No player in NFL history has even played in 7 Super Bowls. Okay? No player in NFL history has ever played in 7 Super Bowls. He's going after a 7th ring in his 10th Super Bowl. It's unbelievable. It's amazing. And when you talk about it, you see how some of the great quarterbacks have aged. You see Phillip Rivers. He just retired, right? It looked really limited at the end of the year with the Colts. Okay? You look at Drew Brees. Now, I know he was dealing with some injuries, his wife said especially, but man, even before that, his inability to throw the ball down the field, I feel like really held the Saints back from making a real run. Drew Brees, great as he is or great as he used to be, is the very reason I said I didn't believe the Saints would beat Tampa Bay or could be a Super Bowl contender had they advanced and played the Packers. Then I look at a team, or a quarterback, I should say, like Big Ben Roethlisberger. Got off to a good start, but man, he looked really, really limited at the end of the season. So all that combined, you look at everything going on with this, and Tom Brady is 43 years old, and he's going to be playing in his 10th Super Bowl. Matter of fact, I was on another show, Ryan Flowers, shout at Clutch Sports Talk, but I was on his show, and I was talking about, just how unbelievable it is. And Tom Brady, he's been in the NFL 21 years, right? 19 of his 21 seasons, he started majority of the seasons as the team's starting quarterback, right? Because his rookie year, he didn't start any games. Then he had the year where he tore his ACL the first game in 2008. Matt Castle took over, and the Patriots went 11-5. But you had a lot of situations where, Tom Brady got suspended the 4 games in 2016 for the Deflategate and whatever. But he's 19 of his 21 seasons, he's been the starting quarterback majority of the season. He's been in the conference championship 14 of those 19 years. Think about that. 14 out of 19 years, Tom Brady has at least gotten to 1 win away from the Super Bowl. You can't quantify that. You can't put that stuff into words. And as Meek Mill said, there's levels to this. And you look at Tom Brady, and I said all of last season that, hey, this guy's got to get out of New England. I get it. It's the Patriots and the mystique of Belichick and Bob Kraft, great owner, and playing at Gillette Stadium and having that great home field advantage in the playoffs. But I said that Tom Brady probably has the worst receiving core in the NFL. And you saw Cam Newton and how bad his receiving core was, right? It was rough. And so you look at this situation where, I called for Tom Brady to leave. I thought he was going to the Chargers. He didn't go to the Chargers. He went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had just went 7-9, who just had a quarterback in Jameis Winston, who threw 30 touchdowns, but also threw for 30 picks. So Tom Brady goes there. New coach, Bruce Arians. New offensive coordinator in Byron Leftwich. New receivers. And this thing called COVID-19 hits, and he doesn't really get an offseason. Now, I get it. Every player didn't. But we're talking about a 43-year-old quarterback who, for the previous 2 decades, have been in the same system. He goes to Florida, goes to Tampa Bay, and COVID hits, and there's no normal offseason. So he can't throw to his receivers in the offseason as much as he normally would. Those great receivers, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and obviously Gronk signed, and Bray, and before O.J. Howard hurt, he was really good, and Scotty Miller and guys like that. And he didn't get that normal offseason. No preseason. Yet and still, throughout all that, throughout all the chaos, all the how I can't believe Tom Brady left New England. Throughout all that, all he had to overcome, 43 years old, in the Super Bowl again. You can't put greatness into words. And you don't even try to. I read today that Peyton Manning, who in my mind is the 3rd greatest quarterback ever behind Brady and Montana, Peyton Manning is going to be eligible for the Hall of Fame this year. And the Hall of Fame committee, according to reports, discussed Peyton Manning's eligibility for the Hall of Fame for 13 seconds. I mean, what more is there to say? Of course, Peyton Manning's a Hall of Famer. He's got 2 rings. He's multiple MVPs, and I think he won 5 MVPs. He's had multiple records by the time he retired, passing touchdowns, passing yards. There's not a debate, right? He's obviously a Hall of Famer. Tom Brady should take about half a second. They should discuss Tom Brady. Don't even have the discussion. When Tom Brady retires when he's 55 years old or whatever, don't even have the discussion for whether he's a Hall of Famer or not. Just make him the one exception. Just put him in the Hall of Fame 1 year after he retires. I mean, you can't put this stuff into words. At this point, here's what Tom Brady's going after. Because I believe when he beat Atlanta, when he came back from 28-3 to beat the Falcons, that cemented him as the greatest quarterback ever. I think most people believe that. Then once he got, although he didn't play that well in that Super Bowl against the Rams, once he got that 6th Super Bowl, that cemented him as the greatest NFL player ever, because he's got all these accolades, the 4 MVPs and you know the 6 rings, and he's threatening Breeze and Peyton at that time, passing yards, passing touchdowns, and he's far and away the leader in postseason wins. And this year, because he's got greatest quarterback ever down, nobody debate that. He's got greatest NFL player down. I don't think anybody would debate that either. At this point, he's chasing greatest American athlete ever. I mean, think about that. A 6th-round pick out of Michigan, pick 199, 21 years later, could be one win away from becoming the greatest American athlete ever. We acknowledge a lot of people. Michael Jordan probably more than anybody, right? Michael Jordan's the GOAT in basketball, of course. Brady's the GOAT in the NFL. But he would surpass Jordan in rings. I think they would be equal in MVPs, if I remember correctly. And I get while Jordan went undefeated in those finals, but think about Joe Montana. Joe Montana went to 4 Super Bowls, right? Went 4-0, won all 4. But once Brady passed him in rings, it was like, okay, you know, by that time, Tom Brady had been to 7 Super Bowls and won 5. It's like, okay, we got to put him ahead of Montana. And now 10 Super Bowls appearances. It'll be 10 Super Bowl appearances 13 days from now. And he's going to go down as possibly the greatest American athlete ever, and is still playing great at the age of 43. It's unbelievable. You can't put it into words.